Hello and welcome to the Midweek Check-in. It's really good to see you. Going forward together, living in God's covenant. There's a delightful balance between my personal covenant with God and its outworking in community. I like solitude, so the individual aspect of faith of spending time listening for God isn't burdensome. Being in community, on the other hand, can be very depleting, which is an horrendous admission for a minister to make. There's little point in getting the vertical aspect of my walk with God sorted if the horizontal aspect, my relationship with others, is neglected. Love God and love your neighbour as yourself means that my time spent in seclusion only gains currency as I work at my relationship with others. We all have these biases. Yours will be different to mine, but self-awareness is a necessary path we must all walk on. Polishing the mirror and seeing yourself as you are is a most painful pursuit. We construct our ego precisely for the purpose of hiding ourselves from others. Problem is, the disguise is so good that we also end up hiding from ourselves. An example, think of someone you don't see eye to eye with. Paint a mental picture of them right now. Then, as a gut response rather than a thought through answer, say why there's a problem with that relationship. The most likely response is that we list their faults and not ours. My point is, it's easier to see faults in others than in ourselves. Dying to self is the process of unmasking. God already sees us as we are. His invitation to us is that we see ourselves as He sees us. This vision is both too terrible and too beautiful to contemplate. So we hide. The journey of discovery is the task of a lifetime punctuated by times like now, a chance to renew our covenant. We've looked at covenant for 4 weeks. This Sunday there'll be a chance to renew our vows. History teaches us that God is great at covenant. We are less successful. The Israelites told Moses they definitely worship God and God alone, but within days they'd made a golden calf to worship instead of God. And in case you think we've learned from those mistakes, the disciples showed a similar lack of understanding, which we'll get into in a moment. This check-in carries a Kingdom of Heaven government health warning. Guilt and shame is bad for you. These historical accounts tell us what happened in the past, but they're also a commentary on how we behave today. Polish the mirror and see that the reactions of the ancients are also our reactions. See yourself as you are, not so that you'll be ashamed, but so you'll resolve again to serve the Master wholeheartedly. The Last Supper allows us to see the most beautiful announcement of the new covenant. Jesus promised to give himself. Luke 22:19. Then he took a loaf of bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And he did the same with the cup after supper, saying, "This cup that is poured out for you is the new covenant in my blood." This stunning, breathtaking moment shows that Jesus truly is in charge of history. He knew how events would unfold, but chose to spend his time, his last moments, drawing his dear friends into closer, more intimate relationship. It was a moment that needed to be greeted with awe and silence, worship and adoration, with respect and love. He gave himself to them. He cut a covenant of blood that demanded everything from himself and left the door open for them to choose their response to the most awesome invitation they would ever receive. Amazing love, amazing grace. What happened next? We're informed that this intimate group that Jesus had already given himself to consisted of one betrayer and 11 proud, power-hungry, selfish individualists out for their own gain. Verse 21. But see, the one who betrays me is with me, and his hand is on the table. Then they began to ask one another which of them it could be who would do this. A dispute also arose among them as to which one of them was to be regarded as the greatest. Talk about pearl before swine. This is us. We are these people. Remember, guilt and shame are not allowed because they cripple us. Pride is the other side of the guilt and shame coin, by the way. Our pride is a cover-up for shame. We need to be absolutely gutted that the human response to such glory and grace, to incredible purity and humility is, "Yeah, but I'm better than you." Our lives could be subtitled "Glorious Adventures in Missing the Point." A slight alteration to the no shame rule is we need to be gutted and ashamed, but not in a punitive way. Our guilt mustn't destroy us. We've all done things that we're ashamed of, but that shame can smother and stunt our spiritual growth if we're not careful. This is why polishing the mirror is important. We need to see ourselves as we are, warts and all, so that we get into the practice of letting it go. The point of guilt is that it motivates us to re-enter the covenant of grace. Hence, Commitment Sunday. Hebrews 10:14. By one sacrifice he has made perfect forever those who are being made holy. Meditate on this sentence. Eternity and time-bound actions in one phrase. The cross makes you perfect forever. Perfect tense. It's done. And we're also being made holy. If it's already done, why is there a perfecting process involved? Submitting to the time-bound, whole-making process can only be done by those who accept that the cross makes them perfect. Our decision is written in eternity, but it needs time to work it out. More words won't clarify this, hence the need to meditate. A final plea to polish the mirror. Teresa of Avila said, "For the most part, all our trials and disturbances come from our not understanding ourselves." Learn more about who God has made you to be so that others can be blessed. Allow General Osborne's words to challenge and prepare you for covenant. My all is in the Master's hands for him to bless and break. We are not our own. In this individualistic age, this one truth, if we were to internalize it, would change the world. We choose to submit ourselves to the Master, whereupon he blesses and breaks. Like pride and shame being the same thing, I wonder if blessing and breaking are also two sides of the same coin. We want to be blessed by Almighty God, to be given wonderful gifts from the hand of the Most High. What happens if those gifts can only be used as we are broken? The more clearly we see our lives, the more obvious it becomes that the most beautiful, good and perfect gifts have to break us, have to change us. Instead of asking for a speedy resolution to this worldwide crisis, it might be more appropriate to ask God to clarify the message he's speaking through us to the world. There's something that's trying to get to the surface of our consciousness through these recent months that we just need to make space for. Considering our covenant with God may just be the key to unlocking that hidden message. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your open mind and willing spirit. May God use you in blessing others. Have a great week. See you Sunday and stay safe.